Hello Charles Angels and welcome to another tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about request animation frame. So what is request animation frame? Request animation frame is a way of telling the browser that we are about to do an animation. That is, we want to make an animation to the next frame. Okay, so back in the days when animations were done, each frame was hand drawn frame by frame. So if you remember those flip books, if you ever did those flip books growing up, remember in order to make the figure move in your flip book or whatever, maybe a ball or something, you drew it page by page. Now imagine each page to be your frame. So what we're essentially doing is we're telling the browser that okay, we are about to move to the next page. We are about to paint the next frame. Be aware, and this is what I want to paint. Essentially, that's what request animation frame is about. So why request animation frame? These are the reasons. Number one, it matches your browser's rendering cycle. Unlike if we're using set interval, which is also another way of doing your animation, but it's not as good because it's better to use request animation frame because you already, it helps us to know the browser's rendering cycle, and so it will match it. There is no skip. Unlike if you are using set interval, if for some reason the browser is under a lot of pressure or something happens, it may not align, and that would cause your animation to be jittery. So the second reason is that it is performant and efficient. So even if you for example, if you move to a new tab, your animation would pause. It wouldn't, unlike set interval. Then it would help. Another reason is because your visuals for your animations will be smooth, like I said before, because it matches the rendering cycle of your browser, which is usually like 60 frames per second. Then also, it last but not least, it is resource friendly. It's good for your battery. And okay, so let's just hop into the code to see how it works, comparing it to set interval. Yeah. So I have created this simple index.html file. It just has a h1 inside with an ID that I put count display in it. I'm going to quickly create a new script, and then I'm going to create two variables. The first one is just going to be regular number and 0, and the next one is going to be interval ID. You see why I'm creating that in a moment. So I'm going to create a set interval. We're going to start with set interval and see why we don't like it. And then I'm going to say this 100 milliseconds, right? Okay, so I'm going to say document dot get elements by ID count display. Okay, dot text content is equal to number. Okay, then I'm going to increase the number, and I'm going to put a condition. I'm just going to say okay, you know what, okay, fine, it's okay. So I'm going to say if number is greater than 150, then what I want to do here now is I'm going to say interval ID equal to oops, what just happened? Interval ID equal to set interval. So in case you don't know, set interval returns a number that we could use to, cancel the interval. Okay, I'm going to now say clear interval, then I'm going to put interval ID. All right, so this will essentially stop it. So let's go to our browser. I'm going to refresh and the animation to take place. So essentially we are trying to do this animation of like 100% or whatever. So yeah, so you can see it just goes up, and Then you might be wondering, you might be saying, if we use this to control a box or something, move something across the screen, this looks pretty smooth. But if for some reason your system is under a lot of pressure, then there's going to be an issue. So I'm going to show you how that works. So I'm hitting inspect. I'm going to go to performance. Under performance, so like if you click this, and then CPU, we go to 6 times slowdown and see what happens when I refresh. So you can see it, even from the get-go, it's not as smooth. You can see it's jittery, it's not smooth. That's because it doesn't align with the um with the browser's rendering cycle. So there is a bit of disconnect there, because we've simulated the system being under a lot of pressure, which is what we don't want. We want our animation to be buttery smooth. Okay, so now let's head back and work on request animation frame, just to see the difference and why we pick request animation frame for our animation instead of set interval. I'm going to create a function, and then I'm going to call this function I'm going to call it draw, because we are drawing. Okay, so I'm also going to create a variable. I'm going to say let animation ID. So we're kind of mimicking what we did for set interval. So copy and paste. So I'm going to say animation ID equal to request animation frame, passing in draw. So request animation frame takes in a callback function. So you could put an anonymous function directly inside here like this, but if we do that, it's just going to paint once on the screen. It's just going to paint once, just once on the screen. So if I show you an example, if I go back, you can see, shit. This is still there. Let me comment this out. Sorry. So if we go back to the screen, you can see it just paints the 0. But if we want the animation to take place, we need to keep calling this draw function, which is the reason why we are putting it here like this instead of just an anonymous function. So to do that, I'm just going to copy this and paste. So it is important to note that in order to cancel, like do this clear interval, right, and put the this is supposed to be animation ID, sorry. In order to, and this is not supposed to be clear interval, this is supposed to be cancel animation frame. Yeah. Okay. In order to cancel the animation, you need to, whenever you do the next draw, you need to reassign the variable. You need to put you have to do it like this. If you don't do it like this, it wouldn't work. Or you could just simply do return here and transfer it to the top, but this is better. Okay, so now because it's calling itself recursively, then if we go back, I want you to note that we are still in 6 times slowdown, and see how fast it would be. See, it is smooth. It is really, really smooth. No hiccups. So now I'm going to refresh again and then try to go to a new tab. So by now it should have hit 150. But guess what? If I go back, it continues. Ta-da! Yeah. Okay, so yeah, pretty much that is what you could start with. Of course, request animation frame also takes in let's say you want to pace out the animation. It also has another has an argument here, like that is this high resolution timestamp, but I'm not going to be covering that here. I think usually I use it for like my game tutorial, so you should see something like that yeah, but you could also check that out in the documentation. But I just wanted to people to have the idea of what a request animation frame is all about. Okay. So you could just, okay, maybe we could, uh, should we do that? No, it's fine. All right. So I hope you learned something today. If you have further questions about um, request animation frame, maybe you also want me to cover the the timestamp, do let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for being here, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, do like, and subscribe. Yeah. Till next time. Bye.